How's it going, everyone? It's Caleb here, and today we are going to be talking about Timon and Pumbaa's Jungle games on the Super Nintendo. Now, I'm not going to lie, when I found out that there was a Timon and Pumbaa video game based off the old cartoon, I got excited, and I bought it before I looked at any gameplay of it. I just saw that there was, a game based off a cartoon that I watched as a kid, and I just bought the game immediately. It was a pretty cheap game. It's not like it's an expensive game. But I was really excited to try this out, honestly. I didn't know really what to expect, but I was just hoping for something good since I did grow up with the cartoon. I remember watching the cartoon whenever I was homesick from school or if there was a snow day or something. I remember watching Timon and Pumbaa, and I always really liked that cartoon. So, I don't know, I was just expecting the game to be really fun since, the TV show was really fun. Unfortunately, it's really not. This game is one of these, mini-game compilations, and those are always hit or miss. It seems like they're never, there's never a middle ground. They're either bad or they're pretty good, and this one, unfortunately, leans more towards the bad side. It's not a terrible game, but it just doesn't really have a whole lot there, and what's there isn't great. The game itself doesn't look great graphically, which, I know it's a Super Nintendo game, but still, even for Super Nintendo, this game is not great looking. It looks kind of muddy. It doesn't look very good. So I have an issue with that. But then I also have an issue with the selection of minigames that they have, mainly because a lot of these minigames are just really, really bland. I think the most disappointing one is pinball, and that's probably going to be the one that I dislike the most, is the pinball minigame, which is just called Jungle Pinball, because it is probably the worst digital table I've seen in a pinball game. It just has really nothing going for it, and of course, it's based on this, kind of jungle theme and whatever, so there's no lights or anything, really. There's, some of the letters light up and stuff, but it's not very flashy, it's kind of boring looking, and there's not really a whole lot of good stuff going on when it comes to this pinball table, and it's just not that great. It's not that fun. And one thing I really don't like about it is that it really does not like giving you, the free ball option. Sometimes when you're playing pinball, on pretty much every single digital pinball game I've played, if the ball falls down into the hole too quickly, then it will immediately give you a free ball. This game, its free ball option has to be insanely quick. You do not get it if it takes more than just a few seconds, and it's kind of crazy. I was kind of surprised how unforgiving it was when it comes to that, because sometimes there's just nothing you can do in pinball, right? If you played pinball before, you know that sometimes the ball just goes right down towards the center, and there's no way to hit it with either of the flippers. So, yeah, that's always a problem, and the fact that there's no free ball, there is a free ball, but it gives it to you very rarely. That's definitely not great. So next on the list is Burper. And Burper actually isn't bad. I would say that this is actually probably the best minigame on the list. You play as Pumbaa, and you are basically, doing exactly what the title of the game says. You're burping. You are basically sending gas clouds out and trying to take out falling bugs and falling fruit and just a bunch of random falling things. And you are trying to hit as many items as you can before the time runs out, and if you hit the right amount of items, then it will go to the next level. However, the next level is exactly the same looking as the level before it. It just gets a little bit harder. That's one of the problems I really had with this game, is that there's not really any different screens for the minigames. I would have preferred, it wouldn't be so bad. This game actually wouldn't be so bad if they at least had different screens, but the fact that they just use the same screen over and over and over again and call it a different level is a little bit aggravating. I wish they would have at least tried to swap it up with some sort of different, environment for each level, but unfortunately it's just the same screen over and over again, just with the difficulty turned up. But Burper, overall, it is kind of fun to move, Pumbaa around while Timon is shaking the tree and trying to knock these bugs out of the tree, and, trying to hit all of the bugs and trying to avoid, heavy objects, because if a heavy object falls on you, then you lose a life. So it's not a bad game. I actually do enjoy that one, alright? You have Hippo Hop. Hippo Hop is okay. It's also not great, but it's think of how like Frogger is, where you're like jumping across a pond and you're trying to get to the other side. However, you're not really trying to get to the other side in this one. You're basically just trying to collect bugs, and you are trying to stay alive until time runs out. It's another high score game. Basically, however many bugs you collect, and depending on the color of the bug, you get more points, and that's how this one works. It's not terrible again, it's just not really that exciting either. And I haven't seen more than one level for this, so I believe that this is also exactly the same, where there's only one level for it, and again, that's kind of disappointing. Especially because, like, you can run out of time, and there's literally, it doesn't give you level 2, it just says level 1 over and over and over again, so that's also a little bit frustrating. I'm not a big fan of that. And then we have Sling Shooter, and Sling Shooter's alright. That one's another one that's pretty okay, I'd say. Basically, you have a slingshot, and you are launching at cardboard cutouts of animals, but if you shoot and you hit a real animal, then it will actually, like, subtract points from you, and it won't count towards the total of, like, the animals that you need, or the cutout cardboards that you need to take down. Now, the weird thing about this is that some of the animals actually are real, I think. So, it's a little bit confusing, because sometimes you'll shoot an animal that looks more realistic, and for some reason it will still count as taking it down, even though it's not a cardboard cutout. So I wasn't really... I didn't really understand what they were going for with this game. I didn't really understand, like, do you want me to shoot at the cardboard cutouts only, or do you want me to shoot at some of the animals as well? Like, make up your mind. It's kind of, it just is a little bit inconsistent. I wish it would have been a little bit more consistent. I guess that's my main complaint with that one. And those are the only 4 minigames that you get in this game. There actually was another minigame, but the Super Nintendo version of this game actually basically had that version taken out. They basically had a Puyo Puyo type of minigame, but they took it out. And I don't understand why they would do that, but they did. And it's really annoying, because if that Puyo Puyo kind of like style game was there, this would probably be a game I could recommend. But since that's not there, and you only have these 4 minigames, one which is not good at all, which is the pinball, and the other ones which are just kind of okay, there's no way I can recommend this game. The only way I can recommend this game is if you grew up with Timon and Pumbaa and you just want it for the, you know, that sake, you know, the sake of saying, oh, look, I watched the cartoon and now I have the video game, which is basically the reason why I bought the game in general. But yeah, it's just not really a great game. It's not good. It's not even okay. I'd say that this game definitely leans more towards the bad side of things. And I wish I could recommend it, and I really wish this was a good game, because I love Timon and Pumbaa. I love that cartoon, and the fact that this game just kind of feels soulless, and it definitely feels like it was probably a cash grab back in the day, it definitely hurts a little bit. I was hoping for more. I was really hoping for something decent, and unfortunately, it's just a bunch of bad to average mini games. It's nothing great, so I don't recommend this game personally. If you are going to pick it up, try to find it pretty cheap, you know. I found it for $10 with the manual, which I think is fair, but yeah, I wouldn't spend a whole lot of money on this game. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm sorry that Timon and Pumbaa is not a good video game. I was hoping that it was going to be, honestly, so maybe next time we'll have a good game. But thank you for watching. I'll talk to you next time. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.